Hello, welcome to my next video. Today I have added a boss feature to ArcShoot. Here you can see the prefab boss 1. I simply made a cube. I have attached the enemy stats script to it. This is what all the enemies have to control their hit points and explosions and power-ups. And then I created a boss script with a couple variables which I will show what they do. And let's see, I think I can just go right over into the scripts now. Let me show you what the boss looks like. So this script is completely new. So I have these variables here at the top, A, B, T, Y min, Y speed. I also have a variable called boss num. This is so I can keep track of which boss I have instantiated and control them separately if they have different powers and stuff like that. In the start function, I initialize my A, B, and T. The A and the B I'll come back to. They're part of a signed function. The T is for time. That's also part of the signed function. And then Y min, Y speed, I just set these to some arbitrary number for testing. And I also have set the boss alive, which is in the wave script, to true. It's a static function over there. And then also in start function, I want to figure out which boss I have and then set it, initialize the boss num. So right now I just have boss 1, and so I set boss num equal to 1 in that case, and I'm checking the game object.name. So I can add as many bosses as I want. And down here in the update, this allows me to do a switch on boss num and control all the intelligence separately. So I have instantiated, which I'll show in another script, in the wave script, the boss got initialized in position to above the screen at 15 units. So this if statement, now remember this is case 1 here for the only boss that I've created, transform.position.y, if that is greater than y min, which it is in the beginning, then I want to reduce the value of y so it comes down onto the screen and the camera. So transform.position.y minus equals y speed, whatever speed I set, times time.delta time. So that's going to slowly move down into the screen. Now once it reaches that, this if will evaluate to false and it will jump down to the else. So the position was already at 0, so this is a good starting point for my sign function to start moving. So I have transform.position.x equals a. This is just some amplitude for the sign function. It says how wide it will go left and right on the screen. Times the sign, or mathf.sign, b times t. So if you're not too familiar with trig functions, this b here is just a multiplier. If you have a higher number, it will oscillate more quickly, and a lower number will be slower. And then t, which is initialized to 0, evaluates the sign function to 0 in the beginning. So that's right in the middle of my screen where the camera is looking. And then immediately I want to increment the time value so that this will oscillate naturally with time. Down here for the trigger, the on-trigger enter for the boss, I just look for the player bullet. So at the moment it's only going to interact with player bullets, and all 4 of them, the standard bullet, durable, ion, and the laser, are going to reduce damage through this line here. Get component enemy stats dot enemy cur life minus equals other dot get component bullet stats dot damage. So remember, the bullets carry the damage information, and they deliver it to whatever they collide with. So let's see over here on enemy stats. I have added in the start function a case for boss 1 clone. This is to initialize hit points. Remember, I have the other guys are just increasing in hit points as time goes on. So I have my boss coming out right at the beginning of the game, so I wanted to give him a few more hit points than that so I could shoot him down. And let's see, So in the update now, I don't think anything has changed here. I've just added one more case for the boss 1 clone, and I'm destroying it and creating an explosion just like for the other enemy objects. Now let me go into the wave really quickly. I'm going to go to the top here. This is where I've added a variable for boss 1, so I can attach the boss 1 prefab, and I have declared the static variable boss alive. It's a boolean. So coming down here, I initialize boss alive to false, and remember this is in the wave script, so I don't want to have a boss be alive right at the beginning of the game. So now in the update function, I have wrapped all of the code that was in there before into an if statement. If not boss alive, then I want to go through all this code that creates drones and towers and mines just like before. I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom of the update function, and just to show these 30 lines that I've added, I create a boss right at the very beginning of the game. So if time has elapsed more than 3 seconds, then I instantiate boss 1, and then I start fighting him. So I will show how that looks. And then for the ship, I've added if it collides with the boss, then I need to do something. So at the moment, it only takes damage right when you hit the boss. Now you could like fly around inside the boss and not take damage in this scenario, but that's not very good. So I'm probably going to add an on trigger stay so that the ship will keep taking damage over time as long as you're in contact. Now going over here to these 4 bullet scripts, they need to know what to do when they hit a boss. So I've added a boss tag. So when the laser or the ion cannon or the durable bullet or the standard bullet, I've added this one line to all of them, case boss. Now you don't see a break and you don't see any code right after this line. It goes immediately into another case. So just as a reminder, if you're not familiar with switch statements or case statements, if you do not hit a break, then you just keep on going on down until you do reach a break and you execute all the code along the way. So if you hit a boss, then you will destroy the game object, and in this case it's the laser. And same thing with the bullet ion. Same thing with bullet 2, the durable bullet, and same thing with bullet 1. Okay, so let's head over into Unity and let's see what the game looks like now. Alright, so you're going to see one wave of enemies come out, the boss comes down, and he starts moving side to side. So if I shoot these guys down or not, doesn't really matter. The tower's on the screen. Okay, so let's see if I can follow this guy and start dealing some damage to him. Alright, I do. So there you go. Now notice there are no more enemies coming out, so as soon as the boss is killed, I'm going to have to set a timer to either go on to the next level or the next wave. And that's what I'll do for my next video, is set up the entire structure for repeated waves and times. And then after that, I pretty much just need to start balancing all of the variables and timers and hit points and power-ups and everything. So this game is starting to wrap up, so stay tuned for future videos and let me know what you think.